Welcome to Scorched Earth and a reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of August. Hope you're all well. I'd like to say thank you to all those people who've joined the channel memberships that are now open. There's I think there's a little join button or something down there, just underneath the video. And all the other people who've come over to Patreon to support me over there. I appreciate you all endlessly. The vote of support leaves me quite humble in the face of it, so thank you, you are appreciated. So Capricorn, don't think I have anything else to say, so let's get you some cards. August. Ooh. So we've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse, that's good, I like that. Four of Wands in your current energy, and for what's coming towards you in August. Shit. Let's get what that was. Try not to set my hair on fire this time. We've got the Seven of Cups. Just knocked my cards everywhere. That's quite cool. At the bottom of the deck we've got the King of Pentacles. Now that is strictly Taurus, but it could well be you. And don't be worried about it being a king if you're female. Like, tarot genuinely doesn't care about gender at all. It's about the presentation of the energy. So with kings, it's masculine, therefore it's active. With queens, it would be receptive, right? Anywho, let's get some clarifiers and work out which deck I want to use to clarify. I'm going to go with the Triple Goddess. So, no majors in here yet. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. With the way the world is at the moment, you could do it with without the drama a little bit. Certainly I'm feeling like that. Anyway, so Five of Cups, Five of Pentacles in reverse, please. Five of Pentacles in reverse. Right, we're getting a lot of flippers, but nothing truly jumping properly. So let's just put those back in there. And Pentacles. Do you know what? Let me give them a cold one a little stir. And dump some of this in. There we go. Right. We find when the cards don't jump properly, it's because they're a bit energetically sticky. So I'm just giving them a little smoke bath and they're all usually all fixed. So let's try that again. Five of Pentacles, please. There's the first one. We've got the Star. I like that. Five of Pentacles. And that is King of Wands. Ooh, I do like that also. Four of Wands, please. It's the Chariot. Ooh, there. Four of Wands, please. And the Six of Cups. And Seven of Cups, please. Ooh, the Hermit. Interesting. Seven of Cups. Ooh, and the Three of Swords. Intriguing. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Page of Swords there. So there's quite a bit of action in here, but there is also a lot of contemplation, which I find interesting. So there's a balance of the two. I'm going to pull some more clarifiers as we go along, but we'll just start where we are for now. So the first card that you've got, your recent past, is the Five of Pentacles in reverse. Now, when it's this way up, it talks about things, well, I think it talks about your needs not being met in some way, right? It talks about abandonment, isolation, poverty of any description, you know, whether that's energetic or financial. It's kind of scratching around for your basic essentials, right? And not even managing that. That's what this card says to me here. When it's this way up, it's absolutely coming out of that energy. So where things have been difficult, whether that's financially or energetically, it feels like you're starting to really find your stride now in some ways, right? Things have been hard, but they're picking up. Because fives are a very unstable energy, right? Fours are foundational energy, and it's what we're building. And five comes along and it just blows it up, right? It doesn't do it for shits and giggles. It does it to help you hone and refine what it is that you're building. I don't mind that noise. That's my window creaking. So in the long run, it actually does you a favour, but it rarely feels like it at the time, because it's usually quite uncomfortable change. The most useful thing that you can do with 5 energy cards is invert them, right? Because then you're stabilising them. So your 3D environment has stabilised in some way, whether that's how you relate to it because you've got better energy and all that kind of thing, or because you're bringing in a bit more money, or you've got on top of your debts, that sort of thing. Take it as it resonates to you, but it's a good move that you've made here. And it's clarified by 2 cards. We've got the Star and we've got the King of Wands, and this is the first bit where I say there's some active energy going on here. I'll get to why in a second. Let's start with the Star. The Star is the card of Aquarius, and it talks to me about faith and connection, right? It does talk about healing, and it does talk about hope and that sort of thing. But I always think if you say to somebody you followed your guiding star, or you are following your guiding star, like what you're saying there is that there's something up there, and there's something in here. And you trust the connection between the 2 things sufficiently that you believe that this thing will take you where you need to go, right? So that's where the faith and the trust comes in. Not only are you trusting that, but you're also trusting yourself. It's also a card of the future, right? It's a very visionary energy, that of Aquarius. It's always kind of looking off to the future. And let's face it, you're Capricorns, you probably had a 5-year plan of some description. Maybe it's even longer than that. I always used to I laughed so hard. I found out it was the thing that Capricorns did. For reasons that I won't go into now, but it's definitely a thing anyway. So it feels like your hopes for the future have been in some way kind of reinvigorated, right? You got on top of things that were difficult, whether energetically or financially, and now you've kind of got your eye on the horizon. You've got your eye on what it is that you want to achieve for yourself. And then we've got this King of Wands. Now the whole wand suit is kind of about living in the moment, but more than that, it's about living right now. It's if you were to use a verb to describe the wand suit, it would be to be, right? To just be, nothing else. And so it's about living, and it's about experiencing, and it's strictly the card of Leo. And maybe you've got some fire in your chart somewhere. But it's quite proactive in the here and now. And that's quite interesting, because what you're doing there is arranging a kind of balance between your visions for the future, the difficulties of the past that you have now stabilized, and the very present energy of the King of Wands here, right? He's active, he goes after what he wants, and it looks like you are going after a vision of what you want. Pull another deck. I'm going to go with the Rider-Waite for this one. I just want to get another card or 2 to look into that. The Ace of Cups and the Magician. Ooh, we've got Death at the bottom of the deck. I love this card, right? It's a card of transformation. It's not necessarily a card of endings, although it can be. It's a card of moving from one state to another, and so by definition something has to end, but also something else begins. A new chapter begins, and it kind of feels like, now I've said that, this is what this is, right? This is really navigating the beginning of a new chapter. We've got the Ace of Cups and the Magician. Both of them are very early on. Obviously the Ace is the potential, the emotional potential contained within the cup suit. You've got everything in there from, in the Ace, right up to the 10. Right? It's all contained within the Ace. And it feels a little bit like you've had a real change in the way that you see the world. Not only the way that you see the world, but actually the way that you engage with the world. And kind of, I've been seeing this for you for a few months, Capricorn, actually. There's been much more of a movement towards things that emotionally fulfill you rather than... Oh no, that's not... Let's think about the best way to phrase this. As Capricorns, you derive a great deal of value from work. Right? You enjoy the act of work. You enjoy the act of providing for those that you care for, right? And the status things help, and you know, work recognition, all of that kind of thing. Like, that's where you find your value. But it seems like you've been kind of stepping outside of that a little bit, and that's growth. That's a good thing. We like that. And your priorities have shifted somewhat. So it's not all about work. It's not all focusing on provide. It's actually kind of allowing other things to seep in. Now, this is a really good thing for you. And it does indicate a fairly impressive transformation from where you've been before. Because it's adding another tool to your arsenal, right? Now, the magician does not work with one element and one element alone. He knows that they need to be combined, you know, with will and intent to bring forward, you know, changes in the 3D. And it feels like that is what you have done. That is what this fine balance that you're walking now is including all of the elements in. And it's a very powerful position. But this notion of emotions being... having any value at all is something that's a little bit new to you, and not something that you're used to placing that much store in, but it is becoming increasingly important for you. Now, in your current energy, you've got the Four of Wands here. I love the symmetry of this card. It's beautiful. And that for me is a card of home. Right, and everything that home represents to you. So if you were to celebrate something, and the Four of Wands is also a card of celebration, you know, who would be the people that you'd want around you to celebrate with you this thing, you know, whatever it is? Where would you be? You know, it's a card of foundation, and you are currently in the act of building a new foundation for you. I mean, notice it's got a fountain on this card here, right? So the emotional stuff is getting built in as well. We've got the Wands. There's a bit more excitement into your life, coming into your life, a bit more present energy coming into your life. You're kind of enjoying things that are in front of you rather than living 5 years in the future. And for a lot of you, it seems like you've found someone to share that with. And I'm just looking at the symmetry of it, right? It's a very comfortable position, but it's one that holds a lot of potential for you, right? The two cards that I've got to clarify are the Chariot and the Six of Cups. Now, the Chariot is the card of the self, and it feels like you've been on a bit of a journey of self of late, Capricorn. Right? We've got the Six of Cups here as well, and that speaks to the past, in whatever sense that is. Now, I've seen that come up to indicate past lives, but I've also seen it to be just the past, or childhood, or children, right? So if you've got children, you're really focused on creating a really well-rounded home for them, not just one where the material needs are met, but also where their emotional needs are met. That seems to be quite important for you now. But the Chariot is a card of integration for me. I'm seeing it come up an awful lot with regard to shadow work recently. I've spent a bit of time thinking about it, and it occurs to me that dealing as it does with duality, we're not yet anywhere near a unity consciousness, unfortunately. You've got the positive and the negative, and night and day, and good and bad, and you know, all of the things. Interestingly, I don't really go with the good bad thing. I don't like that too much, but let's not get distracted. So for me, on a standard Chariot card, that point of integration, right, that singular point, is the charioteer, the one who is controlling with the power of his mind where the sphinxes go on that card, right? And they are indicating the polarities that need to be held in very fine balance. And they can indicate all sorts of different polarities. You know, the emotions, and, you know, work responsibilities, work duties, work values, all that kind of thing, right? You know, you as opposed to someone else, your consciousness and your non-consciousness, all of these things, right? The charioteer sits in the middle, holding all of them in alignment in order to move forwards. And it feels like you've been doing a bit of work on yourself in that way. It's kind of like, and this isn't just a new thing for you, because this has kind of been a theme that's been going on for quite a while for you now. Like, it was probably coming up a year or so, where this notion of kind of going within and having a look and seeing, you know, how the land lies in there is coming to the fore. So with the Six of Cups being here, it's maybe sort of contemplating the past in order to build a better future, a better present for you right now. The Justice card has tumbled out there. That's the card of Libra. Ooh, and we've got the Six of Wands. This is good. This is really, really good. Or is it? We've got the Nine of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom of the deck. This is good. Like, this is good stuff that you are doing. But feel like there are maybe some things that are not yet addressed, right? This speaks to mental difficulty of some description, and it can go from everything from being, you know, sad right up to having major issues with your mental health, right? And everything in between. It's a very difficult mental energy to be in, and in my experience, Capricorns particularly struggle with the insides of their own heads, right? Often I've hypothesized that the reason that they work so hard, they've got such an incredible work ethic, is because it allows them to compartmentalize their internal space, right? So anything that isn't work gets packed into a box and shoved to the side so that they can focus with this like laser focus on the work. The thing is, that doesn't go away, and I feel like maybe for you it's just been kind of leaking out, for the want of a better phrase, here and there. Yeah, we've got the Wheel of Fortune underneath, and that does talk about fortunes improving, and to that end would probably talk about your relationship with your mental health improving in some way. But it could also be talking about there being a lesson here in not ignoring these things, like paying attention to these things. We've got the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Wands underneath, and it feels like this is speaking to your motivations. I don't know where I get that from, but I do. It feels like what's going on inside you, kind of paying attention to it, because, you know, maybe sometimes you do things and you don't really know why you do them. Perhaps you say things and you don't really know why you say them. It doesn't mean you're mentally ill, but it does mean that there's something going on there that you aren't quite aware of. Well, it feels like part of this journey that you've been on is kind of like a gentle exploration of those things as they leak out, right? Getting reflective about it and going, okay, this is the thing. Because this Justice card here, in combination with the Wheel of Fortune, is almost certainly speaking about some sort of kind of... I really hesitate to use the phrase karmic lesson, because I don't really like that, because it has these kind of authoritative and pejorative overtones, you know, that you would either, you know, of being taught something in a really painful way, and I don't think it is quite like that. It feels more like... like a karmic syllabus, if you will, you know? We're learning all the time. It's not about testing and passing and failing. It's kind of like, this is what your soul's here to learn, and this is part of what your soul is learning, right? Now the Six of Wands is here, and that's really cool, because that says to me that you have been making some strides with it, right? It's the card of victory. It's a card of Leo, actually, but it speaks about victory. Right? And more than that, it talks about, it's not this kind of secret victory that just happens inside your own head where you're like, cool, I won that was good. it talks about other people being able to see it too, right? So maybe it's your nearest and dearest, maybe it's your work colleagues, who knows? But whatever it is that you've been working on in you, you know, those little bits of this as they leak out, and you've kind of been aware of them and gone, all right, okay, I need to deal with that, and then kind of working through it. It is having an effect that other people can see. Now, interestingly, we go from that Six of Cups there to the Seven of Cups for you in August. Now, this is a card that talks about options. Yeah. It talks about lots of things being on the table. Note that we have got cups again, right? And I don't think I'm overstating the situation too much when I suggest that perhaps August might be a difficult month for you in some ways. Not in that everything's just going to go shit and wrong and all that kind of thing, but I feel like I'm not sure that you necessarily go hunting for it exactly, but it seems like you're kind of in a place where all of a sudden, synchronistically, like just a few things just all sort of happen at once, and they elicit some sort of response in you that makes you pause and go, what the fuck? Or, you know, what am I responding to here? What's going on in here? Why is this? Why am I so wounded by this thing that's just occurred, right? And it's kind of like, it's like a crack, you know, opening up with a little light shining out of it, going like, come in here and look at me. It's like a route through, right? Because there are actually lots of different emotional things going on in you, and it's what's been useful to you in the past is being able to compartmentalize stuff, right? This feels more like those compartments are starting to break down a little bit now, right? And you see how things are actually really closely related, interwoven, in fact, at points. And it feels like as this kind of cracks open a little bit and you see suddenly the connections between all the different stuff, it kind of feels like you've got to a point where you kind of have to address it now, right? And that necessarily will involve confronting things that are a little bit difficult for you, and I feel like they're in your past, right? But 7 is a very spiritual number. For me, it's about integrating lessons, right? So you got the 4, foundational energy, 5, agents of chaos, 6, you've got that moving away from a safe distance from that 5 disruptive energy, right? And the 7's kind of like standing there at your safe distance and going, what have I just learned here? Like, how do I incorporate this into my life moving forwards so that this does not happen again, right? Learning, growth, all that kind of thing. Pull another couple of cards for that. And ultimately, I would not be worried too much about it, because this doesn't feel like, you know, world-ending stuff. It does feel like an opportunity to get to know yourself a little bit more. And then, by extension, being able to not be broadsided by your own emotions, right? Not be broadsided by your own feelings about anything, right? Because you understand your motivations, you understand where you're coming from, you understand what drives you. And no, I'm going to save that for the extended, actually. I was going to go off down a whole line of things there, but I'll just leave it for now. Tell me about the Hermit and the 3 of Swords, please. The 3 of Swords tried to flip its way out again. We've got the 10 of Cups and the 8 of Wands. I'm going to put those back in because they didn't jump. Hermit and the well, these are even more relevant. What has sprung out is the Star, the Hermit, and the 8 of Cups. Do you remember where I said right at the beginning there was an interesting lack of major arcana on the table for you, and it kind of felt like on the face of it this was a month that didn't feel like a lot was going on. That's because all of it's under the surface, right? On the outside, it doesn't look like there's an awful lot going on at all, but underneath, all the clarifiers, they're all major arcana. There's kind of big stuff going on with you. this month, for August at least. But it's really, really good, actually, even if it is difficult. I really want to, you know, kind of push this point. Like, that's a difficult combination of cards there. But ultimately, coming out the other side, you are improved, you are better, right? We've got the Star and the Hermit and this Eight of Cups. Let's put those two, I'll just put that one to the side for now. The Star is, like I said at the beginning, because it was the clarifier over here, it's about connection, it's about faith, it's about trust. Yeah, but in this depiction, we can add on to that, it's about vulnerability, right? This Star here, she's sitting on a little swing and she's looking all purpley and cute and, you know, swinging over a lake. This one, right? This one, she's butt naked, right? She's not concerned about that. She is vulnerable and she is open, and she's, you know, she's filling the water up here. She's watering the earth and the pool of water there. She seems unconcerned that it's going to run out, you know. She seems actually unconcerned by an awful lot of things. So we've got healing here too, right? This breakthrough that you'll have in August, it's gonna feel so much better, you know. It's a bit like the dam breaking, you know. There's peace coming off the back of it, so don't be frightened of it, although it's going to feel quite difficult at the time. Once you have released this, and by released I mean it could literally just be the feeling of mentally articulating it for the first time ever, instead of ignoring it, actually giving it form in your own head, acknowledging it, maybe even acknowledging it to somebody else, potentially. It's going to lighten your load a lot, right? Because you're going looking for that Star, you're looking for the healing, you're looking for the hope, you're looking for the vulnerability, you are looking for the connection this month, right? And you're going to find it. But it's also going to allow you to walk away from things. Now, the way most other tarot readers talk about this is it's walking away from a situation that doesn't serve you anymore, and I don't like that because I think it's too flat for what this card represents, right? It's an 8 for a start, right? And that is notions of karma. There are always heavy karmic overtones with any card that is numbered 8, right? It's kind of life lesson stuff, or, you know, like life syllabus stuff. I'm not going to go with that in future. I think I like it more, right, than karmic tests and shit. But each one of these cups indicates an emotion about something, right? We all know that it's possible to leave a situation behind and fucking grieve for it, or have emotions connected to it for decades afterwards, right? That's why I feel like that is a flat interpretation. It's about leaving behind emotions that you've been carrying around for a long time, right? So whatever they refer to, right, and they hurt, this is like a purging, it's like a cleansing, it's a releasing of those and putting those emotions down, because you don't need them. What you do need is more of this kind of thing here: self-worth, self-value, love, forgiveness, compassion for yourself, vulnerability, openness, receptivity to love and affection, like all the bits of you, including the bits that you don't think are worthy of it, because frankly, you know, it's not really your decision to make as to whether somebody else loves those bits of you or not. But you should lead the way by loving those bits of you, forgiving those bits of you, right? We had this page of swords under here, and it's followed by the Ten of Swords. Now for me, the page is about a new way of thinking. You notice how this page here is studying, right? It's writing things down in a book. It feels like this is a process of getting to know yourself, right? And once you have done that, you will be able to think differently about this, right? And let this end. The things that have pained you, right? We've gone from a 9 now up to the 10. That is an end. That is completion. That is letting this go. You've got death directly underneath there as well. This is transformation. I really like this, Capricorn. It's very positive. It is going to feel difficult though in August, and you know what? That's okay. It's okay. It's not going to kill you. And I think got a really strong sense that the fear that you have associated with kind of confronting these things is actually going to be far in excess of what you are actually experiencing when you turn around and look at them, right? Because you're not that person anymore. Like, there will be initially a point where it is difficult and you're like, holy fuck, ugh, the inside of my own head, the inside of my own heart, fucking hell. But I think that you're going to adjust very, very fucking quickly, because actually, yeah, it's not that bad. The fear at this point is bigger than the thing itself. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now. So if you want to join me over there, there's a link down in the description. I'd be delighted to see you. If this has resonated, obviously, you know, you can do that, or like the video, share, whatever, subscribe, do all of those things. But if not, no shade. And I'll see you in about 10 days for the August mid-months. Alright, take care.